Hey everybody, it's your Rabid Raccoon and good morning. It is officially Monday because it's midnight here in Buffalo, New York, Eastern Standard Time. Uh, you know, when you're having a tough time with your kids, you gotta remember that um, it's the problem with the kids and it's not the relationship with your husband or your spouse or your significant other or your partner. And, keep that in mind that once the kiddo or kiddos are in bed, that it's just the two of you and enjoy that time together. It's easy to forget, you know, and separate the two. Be able to separate the two because oh my God, our son puts us through a lot lately. We're having a lot of issues with his behavioral, and he puts us through the ringer. And a lot of times you're left depleted of any semblance of human emotion. You're just drained, and you're like, just laying there on the couch, half dead, and just a pile of mush, unable to move, and you're, physically, emotionally just drained. And you look over, and your partner's over there, and they feel and look the same. And if you poked them with a stick, probably flies would just go, bzz, fly off the body. You can't forget that they're going through the same shit as you, and if they're your tag team partner. And learn to appreciate, remember that you got a partner for life, and you got to take time and nurture that. Also, be able to give each other a little space to wind down if you need it. Like, I take time for myself, and I either draw or catch up on some reading or watch one of my stupid shows on Netflix. Paul will go and play video games that he puts off playing during the week, or he'll blast some music, you know, and then we make sure to spend some time together. It depends on how we feel. Oh, excuse me. But we always remember to separate things, what's going on with our son isn't a problem with us. It's a problem with him. A lot of people tend to take out what's going on with their kid on each other. It's not a reflection on your relationship with each other. It's the child, the problem with the child. And it's not anything on your parenting. It's just something that's who knows what's going on. And that happens with every type of child, whether excuse me, whether your child has autism or any special needs child, or your child is a teenager, just a typical child, and you know, I I had difficulties, you know, with my daughter too. Not as challenging as this, but imagine if you didn't have the vocabulary, the ability to use the proper vocabulary, and you had all these emotions and hormones and all this stuff all raging in your body, and you didn't understand it, and you couldn't talk about it. So what are you going to do? You're going to lash out because you're frustrated. That's where it all comes from. It's more frustration than anything, and the anger comes out and they act out. Is it right? No, but it's trying to get him to be able to talk about it properly, to channel it in the proper ways where he's not trying to hit or destroy something or scream in your face and you're like, shut the window so the neighbors don't hear, which is literally what I do. I run around and close the windows, and I don't run. So it's not pretty. So yeah, our weekend was a little rough, and then tomorrow, back to school. We have oodles of appointments, along with Mickey going to the vet. I thought that Mickey looked pretty good today, but then when I looked in his folds, not good. All the hair is gone between his folds. He's licked himself to death. It's awful. We're keeping him as clean as possible, but oh my God, it's awful. And then his lips, from him licking so much, he's got some of the hair gone around his lips. Poor thing. So I hope that the vet will be able to give him some kind of antibiotic or something to help him out. Um, but I mostly wanted to come on here and just say that um, as mushy as it sounds, uh, it's good to appreciate your partner and be able to separate between, you know, and even if you have a crappy day at work, and the boss is breathing down your neck, or you don't meet a deadline, or, you spill coffee on yourself, or your lunch is spoiled, somebody else gets credit for something you did, all that shit that happens at work. You come home, try to leave work at home. Try to leave work at work because your spouse has nothing to do with what happened at work. A lot of people can't separate, When they walk in the door, they bring everything in with them, and it's not your spouse's fault. Your spouse is just there to try to love you and try to shirk it off as soon as you take off your coat or your shoes. That's why people leave their shoes at the door, because that's where you leave your work shoes. That's where you should leave your problems. Take time later to vent to your spouse, but live in the now. Um, you'll be happier for it. Uh, that's what we try to do, and we're happier for it. I'm not saying I have the perfect marriage, but we don't really fight a lot, and I think it's because we can put things in different compartments and think about what goes where. And I think that I read that a lot of relationships have problems, and one of or well, yeah, a lot of the one of the main problems that relationships have is over money. Um, I wish that people could live on love, and we wouldn't have so many problems, you know. But um, I don't think it's so much money as the jobs, the stress at jobs. If people could just leave work at work and walk in that door and just take a breath and just try to, excuse me, just try to, concentrate on their loved ones and live with them. And, I can't imagine what it's like for a doctor or cops, morticians and stuff like that. But, if they could try their best to just, okay, the court case is going to be there on Monday. If I could just try to be with my wife for a little while, get a little jiggy with her, you know, have some fun. And, just take some time at the end of the day. What was your favorite part of the day? Well, my part was blah, 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 blah. Do little things for each other. Thank each other, Um, one thing I've learned too is that I'm sorry is so overused. I'm sorry. No, you're not. I notice that people use that too much. Uh, but that's for another time. I've been thinking about that one a lot. But I just wanted to come on and share my thoughts about, separating um, different parts of your problems and your relationships in your house from your relationship with your partner, because I think too often your partner gets the shaft, or your relationship with your partner gets the shaft because you're both mad or tired, or you get caught up in the moment of the bullshit that happens with the kids, or like if your in-laws or something. That doesn't have to do with that part doesn't have to, that's not you and your spouse, that's somebody else, that's an outer conflict, and don't let it ruin what you've got. All right, well, I'm going to sign off. Have a great night. Bye.